And coming up tonight, Constitutional Review Committee proposes the establishment of an independent anti-corruption and ethics commission to deal with corruption-related offences.
From some of the agencies we already have. So we are proposing an ethics and anti-corruption commission that can be cobbled together from some of the agencies we already have.
We got more as the committee proposes tightening the removal process of the Chief Justice, suggesting all petitions be submitted directly to the Council of State, which shall within 7 days refer same to the Judicial Committee for a prima facie determination. Also ahead tonight, Greater Accra Regional Police arrest 132 suspects in major swoops ahead of the festive season. We got details as police urge the public to remain vigilant at public gatherings and cooperate with security agencies to curb crime across the capital. And also in this bulletin, Minority Caucus raises alarm over threats on democracy, security and constitutional order after meeting with President John Mahama. Coming up in business.
Bank of Ghana rolls out comprehensive reforms for the microfinance sector as it takes extra steps to deal with long-standing structural issues and market confidence.
In sports,
Premier League giants clash over Ghana international Antoine Semenyo.
And Christmas comes alive as Joy News captures some residents of Accra singing their favorite Christmas tunes.
I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a...
And it's 3 days to the Joy FM family party in the park, and as companies look for meaningful ways to reward staff this Yuletide, we'll tell you about the corporate-friendly packages the event has to offer. We've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 1 hour. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. You can be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Details after this. Hello again. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And tonight, the Constitutional Review Committee is proposing the establishment of an independent anti-corruption and ethics commission to deal with corruption-related offences, where the commission will wield the power to investigate corruption-related offences and have prosecutorial powers to indict offenders. The Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh Committee recommends that the commission be independent of individual or state control. My colleague Kweku Asante is in the studio with more. Kweku, what else is the committee proposing?
Well, if you look at the summary of the reports that we've just seen, it talks about recommending the appropriate amendments to Article 88.3, 88.4, and 218B, as well as 218E, which will ultimately take away the Attorney General's authority to prosecute corruption and corruption-related offences and Shraj's own corruption investigation powers, and vest all of this authority in a prosecuting body that will be called the Independent Anti-Corruption and Ethics Commission, AEC. The committee further proposes that the Anti-Corruption and Ethics Commission will take over or merge with the legislatively established Office of the Special Prosecutor to create a one-stop shop for all corruption and corruption-related prosecutions. Listen to Professor Kwesi Prempeh of the Constitutional Review Committee. He chaired that committee, explaining the details.
For the Attorney General, we want to take some of his powers so that oral will be done by some other body next time. So what we are proposing there is that because of the system we run, we don't have a career civil servant being Attorney General. We think that raises challenges when it comes to prosecuting political corruption and other issues affecting politically exposed persons. So we are proposing an ethics and anti-corruption commission that can be cobbled together from some of the agencies we already have. So Shraj has some anti-corruption work, not prosecution. We think Shraj can just focus on the human rights and ombudsman work. There's plenty of that for Shraj to do. So we would take Shraj's anti-corruption mandate, couple that together with what probably the OSP and other agencies currently do, and then create out of that mix a new commission, which would then handle cases of corruption so that the AG can be freed to do the international arbitration and the big constitutional cases and all of those other legal policy issues, reforming legal education, the profession, and all of those things. And so we can see more of him. Now we don't see him at all because the anti-corruption work is taking all of his time. So we think he should be happy to see what it is that we're proposing.
So that's Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. He's the chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee. Let's get more on this and broaden the conversation. And joining me on the telephone lines is anti-corruption campaigner Vitus Azim. Mr. Azim, glad you could join me tonight. Well, the committee has been recommending the taking away of the Attorney General's authority to prosecute corruption and its related offences. From where you sit, do you think this is a good one?
It's definitely a good one. And this thing has been a discussion for a very long time. I remember being part of a conference where we made presentations on the need to separate the Attorney General's position from that of the Minister of Justice. Because you see, when you have a politician who is the Attorney General, he is not, or he or she is not an independent prosecutor. So it's good that you take that responsibility from the Attorney General, the office, and give it, especially when it comes to dealing with corruption. Politicians will always want to protect their own. So I think this is a good thing, and if they do it, it will be good.
Already, we have the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which some argue is doing a similar job, if not the same thing, as the Attorney General. When this new independent body is established, don't you think it will be a duplication of what the OSP has been designated to do already?
I don't think that the new body will be a different body from the Office of Special Prosecutor. What they'll probably do is to merge the two and also take the anti-corruption mandate of the SHRAC and put all that into one institution. So there shouldn't be any duplication. Because even with the SHRAC, there have been arguments that the mandate of SHRAC is too broad. You have three: human rights, administrative justice, and anti-corruption. So there has been a call, I think, even by a former commissioner of SHRAC, that they should take the anti-corruption mandate and give it to an independent institution. So now we are going to consolidate that by taking the three different mandates into one institution. That may lead to a reorganization of the Office of Special Prosecutor and the renaming of that office. So I don't think that it will be an issue of duplication of effort.
And is that not going to burden the new office with a lot of work to do?
Well, after all, there are other institutions do this. Now you are going to limit the work of that new institution to anti-corruption only. Like the Attorney General has so many things, general crime and other things to do. SHRAC has the human rights and administrative justice issues to deal with. But if you take this and give it to just one institution, with institutions, the best thing is you need to resource them. Give them the independence and resource them adequately. Recruit enough staff for them to do their work, professional staff to do their work. So as for overburdening them, I don't think that should be an issue.
And do you think this is in any way going to help in our fight against corruption and its related offences?
Well, that's my hope that it's going to be. Of course, sometimes it depends on the individuals you put into that the position to manage the institution. Otherwise, the general hope is that it's going to help to improve the situation. Otherwise, there was a need for this proposal in the first place if we don't have that hope. So that's the expectation, that it will help to change to enhance the fight against corruption.
Well, the report has since been made public, and you being an anti-corruption campaigner, is there anything else that stood out for you in those recommendations?
Well, one thing that I am happy about is, I think, taking away some of the powers of the president. Virtually every institution in this country, the management, the heads, and even some of the management staff are appointed by the president, which by implication goes down to the ruling party. If we're able to do that, it will be fine. And then the separation of the legislature from the executive. Of course, that's something that we're not likely to get because parliamentarians are not likely to agree to that. But see, if you're a parliamentarian, that is your role. Why do you have to be a minister as well? You go and sit in cabinet, take decision, and bring it. Then it comes to parliament for endorsement. I think that is where you can talk about duplication of efforts and even conflict of interest. So that's another area that I think is welcome if they are able to do that.
It's quite interesting that you brought that one up, because that one is also generating a lot of conversation now. People are saying that instead of, if you're an MP and then you're a minister as well, you're paid one salary. Now that we're going to decouple MPs from being ministers, that means we're going to pay double salaries to different individuals. Is that also not going to hurt our public purse?
I don't think that should be anything on the public purse, because you see they say that democracy is expensive, and this is going to enhance their performance. You go to Parliament, when the media shows that a lot of seats are empty, so you delay decisions because sometimes you don't have a quorum, and sometimes they walk out of Parliament because they have a political interest. But if you have people that are just for the legislature, they will focus on their work and not be going around like ministers who have parliamentarians have to travel out to the country when they need them to vote. Sometimes they deliberately delay the voting because they want the house to be full. So so you have to weigh the two things: the costs as against the effectiveness of the institution.
Right. Vitus Azim, thank you very much. He's an anti-corruption crusader. I still have Kweku Asante with me in the studio. Kweku, the committee proposes tightening the removal process of the Chief Justice. They're suggesting all petitions be submitted directly to the Council of State. Tell us more.
Yes, the process is tweaked a little bit. Currently, if you want to remove the Chief Justice, you submit a petition to the President. The President, in consultation with the Council of State as it exists currently, will make a prima facie determination if one exists. If one does exist, then the President will appoint a 5-member committee. This process is changed a little bit, and an aggrieved person, according to this proposal, may submit a confidential petition for the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State. This will be done, and then within 7 days of receiving this petition, the Council of State, which is remodeled, not the current Council of State as we have it, will refer the petition to its own Judicial Committee, who will determine the prima facie on the merit of the petition. If insufficient grounds are disclosed, it will be dismissed. However, if there's a prima facie case, the Council of State will notify the President and the Speaker of Parliament. Once that is done, the President may decide to suspend the Chief Justice pending the investigation, and then the Council of State will appoint a 5-member committee who will sit in camera and within 60 days present a report which will be binding on the President whether to remove the Chief Justice or not.
Kweku Asante is a member of our Legal Affairs Desk. Thank you, Kweku. Now let's talk security, because the Greater Accra Regional Police Command has arrested 130 suspects and retrieved several stolen items during a series of special swoops and motor traffic operations carried out across various divisions within the Accra metropolis. Well, the operations form part of sustained efforts by the police service to clamp down on criminal and enhance public safety as the festive season approaches. Well, addressing a press conference in Accra today, the Greater Accra Regional Police Public Affairs Officer Superintendent Juliana Obin said the exercise is aimed at ensuring adequate security and protecting lives and property during the festive season.
The Accra Regional Police Command has arrested a total of 132 suspects and retrieved various exhibits, including narcotic substances, suspected stolen items, and motorcycles during series of special swoop and motor operations conducted across several divisions within the metropolis as part of sustained efforts to combat crime during this Christmas and beyond. On Thursday, the 18th of December 2025, the police personnel from Kotobabi District under the Nima Division conducted a swoop at Alajo near Merciful Hotel Annex, where the operation led to the arrest of 4 suspects. In a related operation on Sunday, 21st December, personnel of the Railways District Command of the Accra Central Division conducted swoops at identified criminal hideouts within the division that also led to the arrest of 15 persons. This forms part of our commitment to make sure that we all have a crime-free celebration during this month.
Well, Superintendent Juliana Obin also disclosed that a key suspect linked to the theft incident during the Diaspora Summit in Accra, where several items, including ATM cards, were stolen, has been arrested and is currently in police custody.
On Friday, the 19th of December 2025, the police, acting on information and complaints received from participants at various events held at the Accra International Conference Center regarding the theft of personal belongings such as mobile phones, iPads, and credit cards, heightened vigilance at the ongoing Diaspora Summit 2025. Consequently, an undercover operation was mounted at the venue to enhance surveillance and ensure the safety of participants. During the operation, police officers identified and arrested Regan Kwesi Egbi Ado, alias Morgan Ado, who is on the police wanted list for several stealing offences within the Accra Central Police Divisional Command. Now, our preliminary investigations reveal that suspect employs deceptive methods to steal ATM cards. He allegedly manipulates situations at the ATM locations to make transactions difficult for users.
Away from security, the Public Utilities Workers Union of TUC Ghana says it strongly opposes government's reported intention to appoint a transaction advisor for the transition of the Electricity Company of Ghana into private sector participation before Christmas. In a statement dated the 23rd of December, the union indicated that the move contradicts an ongoing turnaround program agreed with the Ministry of Energy, ECG Management and Workers, which is focused on internal reforms rather than privatization, where the union is therefore calling on government to halt all actions toward private sector participation at this stage and allow the agreed turnaround program to run its full course. We'll get more on this shortly, but first let's listen to President Mahama after the Private Sector Participation Steering Committee submitted its report.
We need to clean the slate, but in cleaning that slate, we must look at the whole value chain, because a lot of the problem is coming from downstream, the distribution end, because of the state-owned utility. ECG is not as efficient in collecting revenue. We are experiencing technical and commercial losses of about 40%. And I think it's only a state-owned enterprise that can survive when you're losing 40% of your revenue. And so we are going into the phase of private sector participation in the billing and metering to bring private sector efficiency in the revenue collection so that we can pay for the power we take from the independent power producers. Yeah, people are queuing up. I said they should wait. We're going to do expressions of interest. We just got the report from the committee that's advising us on how to do it. And they gave us three options. You know, one option was to go to one concession holder for the whole country to do the billing and metering. The other was to, if I remember, was to divide into concession areas and have multiple partners working with us in this billing and metering. And so government is yet to take a decision. It's going to come to cabinet, and cabinet will decide on which option we're going for. And then we'll do an expression of interest, and then it's open to, there must be Ghanaian participation, there must be local participation. So even if it's an international company bidding, it must have a local partner.
You heard the President John Mahama after the Private Sector Participation Steering Committee submitted its report to him. And my colleague Kweku Asante is back in the studio with more on this. Kweku, what does the statement from the Public Utility Workers Union say?
So Ken, PU, who have been against this plan all along, says they are very surprised by reports of government's intention to appoint a transaction advisor, especially after assurances from the energy minister that there will be no interference in ECG's operations. According to the union, the turnaround roadmap agreed with stakeholders is being strictly followed and has already been acknowledged by senior government officials, including the finance minister, the majority leader in parliament, and the energy minister himself. PU TUC says appointing a transaction advisor at this stage is premature and raises concerns about external interest seeking control of ECG. They want a complete halt in any of the processes currently ongoing to appoint a transaction advisor or to introduce private sector participation in ECG management. We're also learning that the deputy minister has been responding to the generation of power in the country. Well, yes, when it comes to the festive season, power is very important. So in Kumasi, during an inspection exercise, the Deputy Energy Minister, Richard Jan Mensah, says he's confident that the introduction of the new AXA energy plant would add to Ghana's generation capacity and significantly improve the reliability of power supply to Kumasi and surrounding communities.
For having attended to this visit We are here today to see progress of work with the AXA Awomaso plant. And from indication and the work they have done so far, we are very confident that, and the reports, that by next week, all the units will be energized. At the moment, reports indicate that by late afternoon today, the first unit of 47 megawatts will be connected. They have already tested, their transformers are all energized, control room, everything connected. And so by afternoon, Kumasi area would have additional 47 megawatts. But the total is to bring on board a minimum of 120 megawatts by next week. That is, but because there are 3 units, they are operating one after a time, so they make sure everything is connected. But before then, I have to appreciate the patience of the good people of Kumasi and its environs. We know this exercise that has been undertaken for the past few days, especially in the last 2 days. Some part of Kumasi experienced some power interruption, and this is because of the work they are doing here. You are with us, and the reporting, even at the point, even now that they are still working, at the point they may need to take off the power briefly to make sure they connect, to make sure that Kumasi area enjoys the full power improvements that we seek to achieve.
Right, so that is the Deputy Minister who was speaking earlier in the Ashanti region. Let's get more on this and speak to a member of the Public Utility Workers Union. He's Timothy Nyame. He's the Secretary of the union. He's joining us on the telephone lines right now. Timothy, welcome to the program. Let us understand a bit more about your opposition to the privatization of ECG.
Okay, thank you very much, and warm greeting to your listeners. Yeah. As you may be aware, PU has been fighting against private sector participation or privatization of ECG over the period. And as you can see, we gave several reasons why we don't think privatization of ECG is necessary, where we outline the issues to government. And as you can see, government appointed the managing director and put the board in place, and the board and management started working. With the collaboration of the workers, you have seen the turnaround of ECG in terms of performance, reduction in losses, increase in revenue, power stability. So we have been doing this work continuously, and improvement has shown. Honorable Minister for Finance announced in the Parliament of the tremendous improvement in revenue collection to 90% mark. It was also accepted also by the majority leader. The appointed managing director has won several commendations from the public and government institutions. He has been given an award. So we see that we are on the right path. Only for us to hear that there's a transitional advisor to be appointed to see to the privatization of ECG. This we take a session too seriously.
But Timothy, the revenue stream that you say there's been levels of 90%. Really, the concerns about the sustainability, how sustainable it is. These are all considerations that have been factored. The reason why they want to privatize the revenue stream of the ECG. Don't you think the concerns are legitimate enough?
Look, it is the responsibility of management to ensure controls, effective controls in governance of an institution. And you can see that once the government has put in place a competent board of directors and managing director, you can see the tremendous performance because they are showing the way. The last time I spoke with you, I mentioned that the managing director quickly entered into performance agreement with the staff at various levels where they are being monitored. And the result is out there for you to see. we are saying that the ECG is a strategic national asset, and it should not be left in the hands of some individuals to operate, but rather government to wash its hands off interference in governance, which we have surely done. You see that the revenue management and disconnection of customers, government does not interfere, and you see that collection has increased, losses have reduced. As I speak to you right now, our members are on the field replacing 40 meters and also disconnecting all the customers that have illegally connected, and everything is in place. Mm-hmm. So, as I said earlier on, this outcome is just there for all to see. So, for government to insist, the reason why they wanted to bring private sector participation was the inefficiency that was identified. These inefficiencies are being solved by the competent team he has put in place, which is being collaborated by the staff of ECG.
Okay.
So what has gone wrong now?
Timothy, so what happens if your push for this privatization not to happen eventually goes through? What will you do?
Please come again, sir.
What is PUWU going to do if your push for this privatization not to go through eventually goes through? What will you do?
Well, brother, when we get to the place, we'll cross. When we get the bridge, we'll cross. But as you may be aware, that's why we are sounding warning and alarm to the powers that be that, look, whatever they need ECG to do, they should put in a competent management and board in place, and then the managing director or the leadership should show the way. Anybody who is not performing should be sanctioned, and those who are performing should be rewarded. How can a company that is performing, that has won the public admiration, how do you bring a transition advisor to come and do? What is he coming to do? Are you not thinking, brother, are you not thinking that maybe they are trying to meet some people interest, a group of people interest? Because who suppresses a performing entity?
Okay.
When an entity is performing, you're saying that they are not performing. Now they are performing. The power is stable. Losses are being reduced. Revenue is being generated. Mm-hmm. and so forth and so on.
Okay.
What is he coming to do?
Right. Mr. Timothy Nyami, thank you very much. He is the General Secretary of the Public Utilities Workers Union. It's now time for business, and James Ishan is here with the latest. James, what do you have for us?
All right, coming up in business this evening, Bank of Ghana set to roll out comprehensive reforms for the microfinance sector as it takes extra steps to deal with long-standing structural issues and market confidence. And Finance Minister Dr. Atuforse moved to check and authorize expenditure and enhance transparency among all government institutions as well as agencies and departments. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all of its essentials, Syntex tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Chaco. My name is James Ishen. Details now. The Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama has revealed that the bank will soon roll out some aggressive reforms targeting the microfinance sector. The move is part of effort to deal with some long-standing structural issues as well as market confidence challenges. The Bank of Ghana Governor has been given more details about this move at a program in Accra.
The reform, which is going to be announced in the coming days, is anchored on a new institutional architecture designed to enhance resilience, rebuild public confidence, and expand access to financial services across all segments of society. The architecture seeks to establish four distinct but complementary institutional categories. The first is to have microfinance banks. The second is to have community banks. The third is to have credit unions. And then the fourth is what we call the last mile providers, each with clearly defined mandates and prudential frameworks. And in addition,
Dr. Jones Disiama as the governor of the Bank of Ghana. Now, finance lecturer Dr. Benjamin Amas described moves to reduce non-performing loans significantly by end of next year as laudable and good for businesses. Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Jones Disiama announced earlier that he's working to reduce the percentage of non-performing loans to 10% by December 2026. Dr. Amas noted that businesses will be the biggest beneficiaries.
But the first point to deal with this problem or to achieve this target is for the banks to relook and help create good assets. The banks are the first point of call because the banks that create the loan facility. So if these banks have poor lending functions or poor lending strategies, then the NPLs are most likely to occur. Now, the central bank is coming in to lead the charge, as we heard from the governor. This will mean that the central bank will provide some support to help the banks deal with the non-performing loans that is confronting the industry. How would that be done? First, the central bank will have to, in addition to some of the strategies that they are currently deploying, will have to create what we call or permit the establishment of asset management companies.
Dr. Benjamin Amwa is a finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Atuforson has taken some aggressive measures to check unauthorized expenditure and strengthen transparency in ministries, departments, and agencies. Details in the following Business Desk report.
The Minister of Finance, Dr. Atuforson, in May this year issued a directive requiring all covered entities, including ministries, departments, and agencies, to submit their quarterly commitment control reports to the Internal Audit Agency. This directive forms part of measures to enforce commitment discipline, prevent unauthorized expenditure, and strengthen transparency and accountability across all the public sectors. The country's Financial Management Act empowers the Finance Minister, Dr. Atuforson, to publish the names of principal spending officers or any institution that fails to comply with provisions under these laws. And sources say the Finance Minister would not hesitate to enforce these directives. The Ministry of Finance has therefore reminded these institutions to comply to prevent or avoid regulatory and administrative sanctions. A list released by the Ministry of Finance shows that only 13 institutions have so far complied with this directive.
And that was a Business Desk report. And then the business news on Newsnight with me, James Ishenken.
Well, thank you very much, James. You can be a part of this conversation by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. The news returns after this. You're welcome back. Let's take you to Parliament now, where the minority caucus in the House has raised what it describes as grave concerns over emerging threats to Ghana's democracy, constitutional order, and national security following a high-level meeting with President John Mahama at the Jubilee House. At the meeting held on the 22nd of December, Minority Leader Alexander Fenyomakin formally presented a list of governance challenges which the caucus says constitutes a clear and present danger to the stability of the country. In a press statement issued by the minority after the engagement, the minority said the dialogue formed part of Parliament's oversight responsibility and was approached in a spirit of patriotic duty. And my colleague Fatal Bayaga is joining me in the studio with details from the minority statement. Fatal, can you break down the content of the statement for us?
Yes, Ken. So some of the key issues raised by the minority caucus during this particular meeting include they say that they were alarmed over the Galamsey menace, accusing the Gold Board of weak traceability systems that could legitimize illegal mine gold and deepen environmental destruction. They also say or they criticize the mass dismissal of about 2,802 public servants, describing it as an attack on the independence and professionalism of the civil service, particularly amid high youth unemployment. They raised concerns over the weaponization of election petitions with claims that litigation is being used to overturn parliamentary victories for partisan advantage. They also allege systematic or systemic targeting and harassment of the minority, including attempts to remove its leader from the ECOWAS Parliament, warning that this undermines democratic opposition. They also accused the government agencies of partisan discrimination in the payment of contractors, pushing businesses linked to the opposition toward collapse. They also warned that the withdrawal of incentive under the One District, One Factory initiative is leading to factory shutdowns and job losses with no clear alternative policy in place. Can they continue that, or they also raise concerns about the selective prosecution and punitive bill conditions against opposition figures, while cases involving former government officials are discontinued, describing this as justice by party color. The minority also warned that 1.3 million unemployed youth pose a serious national security threat, calling for youth unemployment to be declared a national emergency. Can they also rising. They talk about rising violent crime, kidnappings, and insecurity, where they highlighted as signs of a failure to protect life and property, with calls for urgent security sector reform. So these are some of the key issues, listed by the minority.
Thank you very much, Fatal Bayaga. Now, the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Usman Nuhu Shaributu, has called on the public, particularly the youth, to voluntarily surrender illicit firearms in the interest of safeguarding Ghana's peace and security. Well, the call follows a courtesy visit by the Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, who led a team including the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander to brief the Chief Imam on the objectives of the Gun Amnesty Initiative. Well, the National Chief Imam, who has agreed to serve as an ambassador for the initiative, stressed that the peace of the country is paramount and urged all persons in possession of illegal weapons to surrender them for the good of the nation.
On the basis of what you, Adam Bona, as the CEO of Small Arms Commission, on the basis of what you have requested, raising my voice and calling on all Muslims, young people within the Muslim community and the Zongo community who are in possession of any small arm, that they must surrender all the guns that they have in their possession in the interest of the peace of our country. Because we want and desire peace in our country. So that we'll leave something for future generations to also inherit the best of heritage. Therefore, I'm raising my voice and pleading to all young people of our country, all the elders, all citizens who are in possession of arms without license to surrender them. In fact, I said, you surrender it by the assurance we have been given. You will not be prosecuted. You will not be arrested.
So that's the Chief Imam. And meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of the Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Dr. Adam Bona, says the Chief Imam's endorsement of the initiative will significantly boost efforts to retrieve illicit firearms and help license or silence the guns across the country.
First of all, let me thank His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, for welcoming us to the Peace Palace, where he took us in and in fact accepted to be an ambassador of the amnesty program, an ambassador for silencing the guns and also elevating Ghana. And the essence of coming to the Chief Imam is to ask for his blessings and to let him appeal to our young people in this country. We know the Chief Imam is a unifier. He unifies both the Muslims and the Christian and the traditional believers and everyone in this country. So we are here on a simple message of surrender your weapons. And the Chief Imam has accepted that he would help us do this. I have Sheikh.
In other stories this evening, the Media Foundation for West Africa has criticized an Accra High Court ruling that places a perpetual injunction on freelance investigative journalist Innocent Samuel Appiah. The court ordered bars Appiah from publishing or sharing allegations against private individual Cynthia Ajay following a privacy breach suit, or the ruling prevents the journalist from pursuing any investigative publications related to the case across traditional and digital media. The court also awarded 10,000 Ghana cedis in costs against him. Executive Director of the foundation, Suleiman Prima, speaking on the Super Morning Show, called the decision bizarre and said his organization will support efforts to challenge the judgment.
So that's what I'm saying. In this case, essentially, investigative journalists have to stop their work or become employees of OSP, IOCO, and all these bodies. I think this is, for me, a very, very bizarre ruling, and it is something that stifles journalism. This is worse than, the content authorization piece of legislation that the NMC wanted to introduce. The Supreme Court said, look, occasion censorship. The journal published whatever, but it is being stopped. Don't publish it. If you think you have anything, submit it to these authorities. I don't think that this is tenable. And certainly we would support any effort towards testing this at the courts above the high courts.
Now, illegal mining is ripping through many cocoa farmlands. In Amancia West District, cocoa farms are giving way to mining pits, polluted water, and lost livelihoods, raising urgent questions about the future of a vital national export. Nana Boshi Adam has more in this report.
Ghana, a nation renowned for its green gold, cocoa, is grappling with an escalating crisis that threatens to cripple its economy and devastate its environment. The scourge of illegal mining has long been a canker on the landscape, but a new and alarming twist in its destructive path is now directly targeting the country's vital cocoa farms, pushing dedicated farmers to the brink. In the Ashanti region's Amancia West District, vast forests and farmlands now bear the scars of Galamsey as illegal mining pushes deeper into the foundation of Ghana's agricultural heritage. Operators, driven by the lure of gold, are indiscriminately wiping out major portions of cocoa farms, leaving behind barren pits where lush greenery once stood. The situation has become so dire that in several instances, cocoa farmers, once pillars of Ghana's economy, are now being compelled to sell their ancestral lands to illegal miners in exchange for heavy cash. The Amancia West District, historically synonymous with robust cocoa production, is where I directly engage with farmers to witness the profound devastation firsthand. I met Bismarck, a cocoa farmer getting ready for harvest on his 7-acre cocoa farm. According to Bismarck, illegal miners are not only destroying farms, but they are forcing farmers into difficult decisions.
The Galamseyers come fully prepared, with money and influence from people in high authority. After buying land from one farmer, they mine in ways that damage neighboring farms. Eventually, those farmers are left with no option but to sell their land, often at a much lower price.
Surrounding Bismarck's farm are clear signs of intrusion. Drone shots reveal gaping pits, heaps of excavated soil, and pools of polluted water in areas that were once flourishing cocoa farms. Parts of Bismarck's cocoa farm have already been cut off, contributing to a noticeable decline in his cocoa production. Just a few kilometers away, Amos Wembele, working on his 12-acre cocoa farm, speaks about the bleak future of cocoa production in the region.
The future of the cocoa production in this illegal mining area, it is reducing because the money that they intend to give out to the farmers, it looks somehow, according to some, it's okay for them. So even as here, the whole community was full of cocoa farms. But as I talk to you, it has reduced drastically. So because many are giving out, that when will you cultivate cocoa and then harvest cocoa, then get 1 billion. So many have decided to give out their lands.
The lure of quick cash is proving irresistible for many farmers who already struggle with low returns from cocoa. The Municipal Agricultural Officer for Amancia West, Millicent Aka, describes the situation as deeply worrying.
Looking at it, a lot of people are into cocoa production, but they couldn't even erect a house. Everyone loves money. And when money is involved, if care is not taken, you compromise. But after giving out their lands to Galamseyers, They've been able to do that. And that is exactly. So I agree with them perfectly. The agric work is not motivating enough. Let me put it that way.
Despite nationwide concerns, illegal mining remains active across the district. Excavators continue to operate in plain sight. According to the farmers, the government must intervene immediately, warning that failure to act could trigger a national cocoa crisis. As the illegal gold rush continues to consume Ghana's precious cocoa farms, the nation faces not only environmental catastrophe, but also a severe blow to its economic backbone, threatening the livelihoods of countless farmers and the very identity of Ghana's agricultural heritage.
Let's do sports.
Well, Kenneth.
Yep.
What's up?
Good day. How are you?
I'm good. Do you remember the last Ghanaian to play for Chelsea?
Stop whispering Michael Essien. I don't think it's Michael Essien, is it?
Yeah, it's Michael Essien.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Okay, we also had Barbara Rahman and
exactly,
but I mean they didn't really have good spells there. So
Rahman is
let me say the last standout
remember.
Ghanaian to play for Chelsea. Let me see, Michael Essien. And will it be a good idea to see Antoine Semenyo there?
I don't care. I don't like Chelsea, so I don't care.
Oh, what club do you support?
Real Madrid.
Oh, okay, that's the easy pick. Anyway, so Chelsea have joined Manchester United, Manchester City and Liverpool in the race to sign Bournemouth and Ghanaian forward Antoine Semenyo ahead of the January transfer window. Now, reports from England revealed that Chelsea recently contacted Bournemouth to ask about the possible deal. United and City have already been speaking with Semenyo's representatives, while Liverpool have been monitoring him since November. The 24-year-old Ghanaian has impressed this season with his speed, strength and ability to play in different attacking roles, making him one of Bournemouth's key players. Now, Semenyo has a £65 million release clause, which expires on January 10. So this means that clubs must act quickly if they want to sign him. So that's why earlier today we heard that Chelsea were trying to look sharp, find out the conditions to see the possibility of signing him. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, he's a Ghanaian. I want the best for him, but Chelsea is not the best place for him.
I mean, now he has about 4 of the giants in England all chasing him and wanting a signature, so he would have to take his time, assess which one will be good for him.
Well, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, Benaya. And of course, as corporate organizations across the country plan end-of-the-year activities for their staff, the focus is increasingly shifting toward experiences that combine relaxation, bonding, and entertainment. This Yuletide season, Joy FM's Party in the Park is positioning itself as one of such options with tailored packages aimed at companies looking to treat their employees to a family-friendly outdoor experience. Max Fuga is head of sales and marketing at the Multimedia Group, and he explains how the initiative creates value for both staff and organizations.
We also have corporate packages for organizations who want to buy for their staff or who want to buy for their staff and families, or they want to just come and take 5 tables, 10 tables, 20 tables. Just reach out to 0267 551155 and make reservation for corporate tables. It is a discounted package that we are offering to organizations who want to buy these packages for their staff.
And of course, the city of Accra came alive with the sounds of Christmas as timeless carols blended with cherished local tunes echoed the memories and traditions of generations as Joy News engaged some residents to sing their favorite Christmas tunes. Not on grand stages, but in everyday spaces, Ghanaians lifted their voices, bringing together music, nostalgia, and festive cheer to usher in the Christmas week. My colleague Rodelin Abensa has more.
I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. Wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Feliz Navidad, Prospero Ando, Feliz Today. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
Wow, that's an interesting report from Rodelin there. But here are a few of your messages that you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. This is Francis from Accra. He says, how about worrying and thorning disparities in salary of Article 71 holders as against other public sector workers? Why is the media not looking at that side for the general public? Please, Joy FM should pick up that and bring it to the public burner. We need it more than other proposals. And this is from Kwesi in Kaswa. He says, so all those bodies that don't have the powers to prosecute should be scrapped out of the system so they won't be paid by the government so that the new ones can be established. And this one says the Constitutional Review Committee to extend the presidential term to 5 years is unnecessary and shouldn't find space in the Constitution of Ghana. That is from Akonsi Garba, all the way in Tamale. And this is from Kojo Kumsin. He didn't tell us where he is from. And it says the Constitutional Review Committee recommendation, which states that political parties should have a period for campaign, is a good call, which must be supported. But as for the extension of the presidential term from 4 to 5 years, it is unacceptable. Those are some of your messages that you've been sending us on WhatsApp. Thank you very much for being a part of Newsnight. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. Have a good evening.